Welcome back to the Nuff Said Podcast. We're talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day again today, because I think we both still have a lot to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough said in terms of our conversations about this film. Like after last week's record, we continued talking about it constantly all week, and we also had a lot of comments on some of the clips on social media. Zan got a bit cooked, rightfully so, in my opinion.
Hey, no, we appreciate everybody. This was the most engagement we've gotten any comment section by far. And
Yeah.
the only thing I resent is when people said like we were grifting. No, I was being genuine. And the more we talk about it in today's episode, you guys will see for sure. You might think I have a terrible take, but I'm not farming for engagement. Okay. So, if you're going to criticize me, get it right. But to the one guy who said he probably complains about having salt on his fries, that was actually kind of funny because I did do that one time, but I digress. Thank you. Thank you everybody for engaging with us. This was awesome. Continue to please like and share and engage with us wherever you see us, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook now, YouTube, TikTok, just wherever you see us, like, engage, comment. The more we grow, the more you grow, the more we all grow. So really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, we're always going to be completely 100% honest on the podcast. The only thing we might do that's a bit clickbaity is the thumbnails of the TikToks. But we've got to play the game. We've got to draw people in with that, don't we?
Yeah.
But before we get into the Spider-Man chat, I wanted to talk quickly about the Odyssey. Have you seen it yet? Or because I know you hadn't seen it last time we spoke.
No, I saw it now. I finally saw it.
You've seen it. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is quality cinema. It's very quality cinema. But I'm not really familiar with the Odyssey story. So I didn't really know what to expect other than a really good Christopher Nolan movie, and that's what we got.
The only experience I'd had with the Odyssey before this was the Simpsons parody that I watched when I was a kid. So that's all I knew about it. But as you know, I'm a big nerd for like watching films in different formats and things like that. So when I saw Letterboxd had this like this digital sort of loyalty card thing where you could have a stamp each time you'd seen it in a different format, I just thought, I have to tick them all off.
You saw that 6 times.
6 times. Once I saw it twice in one day as well. Yeah.
So you really loved this movie then?
I did. I love Christopher Nolan anyway, but so what I want to do is I want to talk a bit about each different format, because before I went into it, I thought they can't really be that different. Like each one is like, I won't be able to tell the difference with some of them, but each one really was distinctly different and had its own like unique thing to it, which really surprised me and made it interesting. Because I've seen it so many times, it could get boring, but because there was something new every time, it was really good. So I started off with normal IMAX, so like the digital IMAX. For me, that was my best experience of seeing the movie. Above the IMAX 70mm, which I'll get onto, but I booked tickets straight away, so I had the perfect spot, right in the middle, not too close, not too far back, perfect spot for all the surround sound and everything. And the normal IMAX had the best sound for me, because the scene where they're putting the wax in their ears to not hear the siren song. It was done so well in the IMAX because he puts wax in one ear and then the other, and the sound in the cinema, like it went quiet on one side and then the other, so it really felt like you were putting wax in your own ears, basically, which was really cool. So then after IMAX, I saw it in the Dolby Vision, which it was really good again, but basically the sound just wasn't quite as immersive as IMAX, and then you're obviously missing a bit with the picture as well. But if you can't get to see it in an IMAX, that's probably the best you're gonna get. Is like the Dolby Vision screen. And then later the same day, after I'd seen it in Dolby, I ticked off the premium large format, which that's basically any. You'll go to a cinema and they'll have their own sort, like Odeon in the UK has iSense, Cineworld has Superscreen, 4DX, where you get showered with water and stuff like that. That counts as a premium large format. So I saw it in Superscreen, and it was really good, but it didn't have any of like the bells and whistles that IMAX has got. But again, if there's one near you and you can't get to an IMAX, it's a really good way to see it because it's just a massive screen. But yeah, it was probably not quite as... It was a bigger screen than the Dolby, but the sound wasn't as good. Then after that, I saw it in normal 70mm, in fact, the Fact Cinema in Liverpool, the independent one. And this was probably one of my favourites because it was the first time I'd seen it on film, and when you watch film that's projected on film, it's just got that grain to it, and it's got the little scratches that you see. It's just got a nice vibe to it. And when you're watching a film that's set in ancient times, it just adds that extra layer, like because it feels old. So that was really, really good. And then I saw it in 35mm. It's the first time I'd ever seen a film projected that way. And I was a bit put off at first because obviously it's much lower quality. So the picture wasn't quite as sharp. But, it had the grain and the scratches, which was really nice. And your eyes did get used to it, but some of the darker scenes, you couldn't quite see as much. But, it's still really good. And then I saw it in IMAX 70mm, and before the film actually started, I wasn't expecting this. They played an exclusive 5-minute scene from Dune Part 3. And that was filmed on IMAX 70mm and projected on it as well. So seeing that on that huge screen was unbelievable. And I'll tell you right now, if the whole film is as good as that one scene, Dune Part 3 is winning Best Picture.
Okay.
Like, that blew me away. My only problem with watching the Odyssey in IMAX 70mm is it's impossible to get tickets. So even if you do manage to get tickets, you have to be so sharp. You have to get the tickets as soon as they're out to be able to get a good seat. So we were very central. We were right in the middle, but we were probably a bit too close, so we had to lean back quite a bit, and my neck was a bit sore at the end. So that's the only reason why I'd rank normal IMAX above it. Is you're more likely to have a better experience because it's easier to get the tickets, in the better seats basically. But if I was to rank them from best to worst, I'd probably go super screen bottom, but I'll say as well, there's no bad way to see this movie. As long as you've seen it in the cinema, you're going to have a good time. I'd probably go super screen at the bottom, then 35mm, then Dolby, then... This is based off my experience as well. Then IMAX 70mm, then normal 70mm, then IMAX digital. But yeah, just see this on the biggest screen that you possibly can if you've not seen it yet. That's the best way to do it.
Which experience had the most, the loudest Cyclops screen? Like, out of all...
The normal IMAX, absolutely. Like,
okay.
We went to the cinema a week after to watch a different film. We watched Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which if you haven't seen it, great film. And we were waiting, because the screen wasn't quite ready yet, so we were just waiting outside, like downstairs in the Odeon in Liverpool 1, and the IMAX is on like the top floor. And obviously during the film, there's the door, there's like the first set of double doors, and there's a second set of double doors. During the film, both of those are closed. We were downstairs, and we could hear the Cyclops screen from the Odyssey screening that was happening in the IMAX. That's how loud it was in that screen, which is where we'd seen it a week before. Yeah, that was like so intense, like just assault on the senses.
That's the way to put it.
And we went to London a week after. Yeah, about a week after we'd seen the Odyssey to see Bruno Mars, and we were on the tube going through London, and there's like, as it like the tube like comes to a halt as it comes to the platform, it really screeches as that sound of metal on metal screeching. And my wife Nicole said to me, "That sounds just like the Cyclops in the Odyssey." It's really intense, like horrible screaming sound. Yeah, great movie. I could talk for hours about that.
that movie, like, I don't know if it's the best Christopher Nolan movie. I think for me, it's probably a tie between Interstellar or Inception. But this movie was fantastic. And it was like that Cyclops scene was very hard to watch in a good way when he picked up that one dude and just ate him.
Oh, and bits of his body were like
Man,
falling out his mouth.
I wasn't trying to describe that, bro. Oh man. Oh. Yes. And then he fell asleep. And then, like, I know people are saying, oh, he invaded their home. Oh, like, bro, I'm sorry. If somebody ate my friends, I'm not in that manner. I'm not going to be like, well, actually, we invaded on his home and he was a peaceful. No, I'm going to do the exact same thing that Odysseus did. He straight up headshotted him Fortnite, 150 no scoped him right in the, eye. And he goes, like, ah, like, I, man, like, oh, man, that fantastic. Fantastic movie. But real quick before we get to Brand New Day, I know we're going to rank the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. If you had to rank all the Christopher Nolan movies, and I know there's way too much to put on a list, but so if you just wanted to do like your top 5 favorites, like just on the spot, and we can revisit this in the future for sure. But if you had to rank your top 5 Nolan movies.
We should definitely do a full episode about this at some point. 'Cause I do still have. There is a few that I haven't seen. I haven't seen Dunkirk, The Following, Memento, or Insomnia. So I haven't seen some of his early ones, and then I didn't see Dunkirk either. But Oppenheimer is probably number 1 for me. I'd probably put Inception second, and I've loved Inception for such a long time. Then I watched it in IMAX last year because they brought a few Christopher Nolan films back to the cinema. And even though I'd loved the film for years, when I saw it in the cinema, it finally like clicked for me. And I just understood it fully for the first time, and it was just an insane experience. I'd probably put the Odyssey third. Then, because then I've got to think about the Dark Knight trilogy as well. It's easier for me if I just think of them as a separate entity.
Yeah.
After the Odyssey, I'd probably go. Probably The Prestige, and then Interstellar. If I'm doing a top 5.
You know what's crazy? Not to keep switching topics, but while you're talking about this, I just realized that Christopher Nolan, his filmography and just his skill as a director and a storyteller, I feel like has gotten much better, especially not that it was ever terrible by any means, but it has become leaps and bounds better as he's gone on. I'd argue, like, if you were to hire Christopher Nolan now to make the Batman trilogy, could he do it better?
Oh, that is a brilliant question.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, like, because the Cyclops, there was a lot of horror elements in Odyssey that I feel like we're kind of missing in The Dark Knight, or maybe he kind of implemented them in Batman Begins a little bit with the fear toxin, but I feel like the horror elements in the Odyssey were way more horrifying than anything in the Batman trilogy, but that's not a disrespect to him. I just feel like that's him getting better. If you were to put Christopher Nolan now, could Christopher Nolan, not to DCU it, if James Gunn isn't going to, is Matt Reeves isn't going to be able to combine with James Gunn for whatever reason, if you were to rehire Christopher Nolan, could he redo a Batman trilogy and make it better?
I think probably, because like you said, he's probably at the peak of his powers right now.
Okay.
And he's also got the most pull that he's ever had, in terms of working with studios. Like, he wouldn't have been able to make the Odyssey 10 years ago. Like, he was able to get IMAX to create a whole new camera just for this movie. So he's always, as you said, he's always been good, but he's skill is just, he's honed his craft over the past like 15, 20 years. Yeah, I think he probably would make a better Batman trilogy now. Yeah,
Do you think
I
he could
do
have,
agree.
if you put Christopher Nolan now, could he have made The Dark Knight better, or is that a movie like that's just a one and done? Like you cannot do that any better.
Yeah, I don't know if he could make The Dark Knight better. I think it'd have to be a new sort of trilogy. Do you know what I mean? Not
Okay.
like doing the same thing over again. Um, but it's so hard to say, because Dark Knight was such a, you know, just such a special movie that, with Heath Ledger as well, you're never going to get something like that ever again.
Yeah, I agree. I think
but
I think my only issue with the Nolan Batman movies, and really also into Odyssey as well, like I wanted to briefly bring up that final Odysseus like massacre scene. The action in the Christopher Nolan movies, there's just a lot to be desired, and I say that as respectfully as possibly can, because his strength really in his storytelling and his craft and his drama, like Odysseus, snapping the bow in place will always be more impactful, I feel like, in a Nolan movie than like a decapitation of a villain, like that's just Christopher Nolan.
yeah,
Like if that makes sense. Like, for example, like when Oppenheimer had that final conversation with Einstein, that felt like a gut punch, like a shotgun,
oh yeah,
I feel like, or like an Inception, when the dice or whatever the little squiggly
the
thing was,
spindle thing.
and then it kind of shakes, but it keeps going. You don't know, like those. Christopher Nolan's impacts are really in the writing and the storytelling, less than the action. But I feel like, especially like for Odyssey, or like let's say if you were to hire Christopher Nolan now, could he do the Batman trilogy better? I think maybe in storytelling, yeah, but I feel like in action, like there's got to be something there. I think Nolan's best action movie is Tenet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, but real quick, if I had to rank the Nolan movies,
Yeah, go on.
top five, I'd go with Tenet 5.
Okay.
I would go Tenet 5. I'd go Odyssey 4.
Okay.
I would say Dark Knight 3. Then I would say Inception 2, and then Interstellar 1. I think Christopher Nolan's greatest scene ever, and this is truly not a hot take, like I truly believe this. Christopher Nolan's greatest scene ever is Matthew McConaughey when he's looking through the video images of his children throughout the years in the satellite.
Oh, yeah.
That is Christopher Nolan's greatest scene of all time out of all of his movies. That to me, why Interstellar is number one. And when when his daughter said, like, my daddy, always kept his promise, or something at the real end, when she was like 90 and he's still like 32, nothing to me will ever be able to encapsulate that. And that is the highest respect I can give Christopher Nolan. Like,
Yeah.
you peaked at one of the greatest writing of all time. That to me is why Interstellar is number one.
I do love Interstellar.
Like that just to me, and we can talk about Interstellar forever, man. I'm sad that Netflix took it off, man. That was so awesome. Like, man, like I can watch Interstellar forever, and the science behind Interstellar is so cool, bro. Like,
Yeah,
and
like
I still have
the way that the black hole sort of actually influenced how scientists look at black holes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane.
So real quick, like, if we were in a black hole, pretty much time for us is super slowed, but for everybody else it's super fast, correct?
Yeah.
So is that not pretty much what's going on with the DCU and MCU right now? Because the MCU is rolling out X-Men, rolling out, Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think the third or fourth biggest superhero opening of all time. And meanwhile at DCU we got Clayface, guys, and Man of Tomorrow and Supergirl. Meanwhile, Marvel is rolling out they got Ghost Rider, like
Yeah.
and I know we're gonna talk about Brand New Day, but like real quick, because I wanted to ask your opinion about this. Truly, should we be concerned about the DCU? Because I loved Superman. I still love Superman. I feel like especially now a lot of people are kind of like screw Superman. Like I feel like I like Superman. I thought it was awesome. I still think it's better than anything the Snyderverse is done. Like, I will stand by that, but I am a little concerned about what is going on with the DCU. Like, we're getting X-Men, we're getting the Fantastic Four back in the MCU, we're getting Ghost Rider, we're getting, we're getting into the Spider-Man. I was tripping a little bit. I was wrong about Brand New Day. We will talk about that. Yeah, I will explain why. I did not get bullied into changing my opinion. I just had to look at it from a different perspective, and I'll talk about that why. But you have all of this going on in Marvel. The only L Marvel has really taken right now is really Blade. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's still, we can talk about that, in its own. But I feel like we got T'Challa back. We got Storm coming potentially in Black Panther 3. Like, Marvel, I feel like is rolling. DCU, like, why are we focusing on these nobody characters, dog? Like, what is going on?
I feel like James Gunn might be a bit in over his head a bit. I feel like obviously he's one of the best comic book movie directors ever, but I don't feel like he can control a cinematic universe the way Kevin Feige can. I don't think he's quite got that skill set. Obviously he's incredibly talented, and I wouldn't be able to do what he's doing. But I feel like it's hard to build a superhero cinematic universe without like a clear sort of through storyline, but tying everything together. Because obviously the MCU did an incredible job that will never be done to that quality or scale again. But they're just making these random sort of movies, it feels like, without any sort of overall idea. He's just saying, "Oh, if we get a good script, we'll make the movie." Well, why was Supergirl made then? Because that was an awful movie. Like, Millie Alcock, incredible. She's absolutely the right choice, but everything else about that movie was really, really terrible.
I just don't understand. Like again, it's like the nobody characters, bro. It's the nobody characters. Like, to use a sports analogy, like, I'll use a Cleveland sports analogy and a Liverpool sports analogy, right? When LeBron left the Cavs, right? It was barren, and we're trying to sell out the Cavs arena with, like, bunch of C tier, no disrespect, but C tier, D tier basketball players who have to make up for the fact that the star is gone, And I feel like that's what DC is doing here. They're making a universe out of C, D characters, but they're not in a LeBron situation. They don't have a free agent leaving. They didn't lose the rights to Batman. They didn't lose the rights to Green Lantern or Superman. They have these major characters, but he's focusing on these C tier characters, and the same way like Liverpool, right? Like, you have the opportunity to sign, like Mbappe or whoever the best players in the world, and you're saying no, we want to prioritize Rio and Gamoa. Like, what? Like, no disrespect, but what? Like, it's the same thing.
It's like the Marvel, when they were first building the MCU, like, Iron Man wasn't an A-list character, but they were, as you said, they were forced to do that because they were sold off. All the characters that they sold off the biggest names in the 90s, so they were forced to build it with like the lower tier characters. And I get why they made the Supergirl movie, because she was they introduced her in Superman, and she's a fairly popular character, but I don't get why they're making a Clayface movie before a Batman movie. It's like with the Sony movies, they were making all these movies about the villains without Spider-Man. Why make a movie about the villain when the hero isn't there? Like, it established the hero that villain's tied to first. It's like Clayface, I'm sure it's going to be a good movie. It looks like it's going to be really good, and they filmed it in Liverpool, which I'm very happy about. But like, I don't really know too much about Clayface, but that's not a interesting enough character to do a film about that character before Batman. Like, with Spider-Man and Venom, I feel like Venom, you can just about get away with doing a Venom solo movie before introducing Spider-Man, but I do think they should have introduced Spider-Man at some point. But then they did Craven, and like, stupid. Madam Web, stupid. Oh, we could go on for hours about
that. Morbius, the greatest one.
Oh, it's Morbin time.
But on that point though, why does Warner Brothers get a pass? Or excuse me, why does Sony get slaughtered but Warner Brothers get a pass for doing very similar Sony, strategy? I don't understand that. You have a point there. like with the DCU, yeah, they've only had one, reasonable success like Superman. I don't know if Superman made more than Fantastic Four, but I feel like they're around the same level of success.
Oh, we
Superman,
should actually check that.
yeah, like I'm not actually sure about that, but I feel like they're around the same. I feel like maybe Fantastic Four made more because of the MCU connection. But I feel like they're around the same level of success. Uh, but I think, overall, like in terms of the DCU and like Batman and Clayface, listen, the only way for me to be excited for Clayface is if they were to use heavy marketing to imply that Batman of DCU was going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
That is the only way. Like maybe like bats up or batter up, and like maybe there's a horror scene around a baseball game or some shit like that. I don't know. Like just use some sort of clever marketing. Like you remember how like it was jokes, but Sony and Marvel Studios, they kept like posting like Jacob Battle and like Ned Leeds as the CEO of the Spidey Tracker, and they were like the CEO is here, and we all knew that they were making a joke about the CEO of sex. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so if they were to kind of use that clever marketing, not funny in this case because it's Batman, but like clever, like, to imply that Batman might be here. If they did the No Way Home, bro, if they did the No Way Home strategy for Toby and Andrew and implied Batman was in Clayface for the DCU going forward, this movie would have so much heat, so much hype around it. Literally, if they were to like, Wayne Enterprises, funded this, the Carlo's, I don't actually know anything about Clayface outside of Arkham City, like playing Arkham City, and Batman called him Carlo in that game. So I think his name is Carlo. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, guys. Cook me in the comments if I'm wrong. But Carlo, whoever, he was an actor, So maybe if they were to make it to where like, Amazon has like Amazon Studios and they make like the Invincibles. Like, what if they have like Wayne Studios or some shit like that? And like, and then he loses the part of his role, because of some accident, because of the Clayface thing, and then he's like trying to get at Bruce Wayne, and there's an in-universe and in-story reason as to why at the end Batman apprehends him, and you get your introduction to the DCU Batman. I know me and you have been on the record of saying we want Robert Pattinson's Batman in the DCU, and I'm still saying that, but I'm also resigned to understanding that's probably not going to happen because Robert Pattinson is on the run of his life right now, bro. Chris Hansen, what is it, Primetime or Primeline?
Yeah, Primetime.
Prime, that is going to be my favorite movie of the year. I'm telling you right now, bro. That movie, when he said, "You see how this looks, right?" Bro, I used to watch Chris Hansen videos all the time. I need to watch this movie, bro. I need to watch this movie. Like Dads Against Predators, like Chris Hansen started all of that. All of that. Like a couple weekends ago in Cleveland, a predator got caught and beat up, actually. It was awesome. So that's what I'm saying is like, I need to see this movie. I'm getting off topic. I'm saying he's doing such an incredible job, like with the Odyssey, with Primetime, with
The drama.
Dune. Yeah, the drama. Like Robert Pattinson does not need Batman. Batman needs him.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see Robert Pattinson being like, yo, I'm on the run of my life. I'm going to have Oscar nominations. I want to tell my Batman story, but I have other stories to tell. And I could definitely see him not wanting to commit long term outside of this trilogy and to have another DCU Batman. So if that is the case, Clayface should be the introduction of the DCU Batman. And please don't, Shazam it. You know how Superman's face wasn't shown in the post-credit scene?
Oh yeah.
No, like we want an actual badass Batman reveal. Like imagine if the lights go out, Clayface, he's devolved into this monstrous Clayface form, and you just see like a batarang made with ice or something, and it hits him, and then he like freezes a little bit, and then you see out of the shadows the DCU Batman, and you don't know who it is, but we can finally then reveal who the actor is for the first time, and that would be also a way to finally have some mystique and surprise in comic book fandom, and I feel like we don't get that anymore. We knew that Jean Grey was in No Way or in Brand New Day a year ago. I kind of
we spoke about it on this podcast a year ago.
I kind of want like John Hamm is Batman. What the hell? Like, and nobody knew it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he would be a good Batman, but I always thought he'd be a great Batman. John Hamm is Batman. Like, so I don't know, like something surprising like that. But I just wanted to ask your opinion about the DCU because I don't know why they're trying to build a universe out of C characters. We should have had a Superman movie, a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, a Green Lantern movie, screw it, Aquaman movie, a Martian Manhunter movie, a cyborg movie, and talk about mass surveillance and AI or something like that, bro. Like, there's A-lister movies. DC. I'm a Marvel head, but DC is a quality brand. It's just tough.
Yeah.
Like that whole Misfits, like making legends out of Misfits. It works at Marvel because you have Spider-Man and you have all these characters. You kind of have to do that. But at DC, you have the luxury of making new stories out of the big hitters. So do
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I don't get their strategy.
Superman did make more money than Fantastic Four, by the way.
Okay.
Fantastic Four made 521 million and Superman made 618, so almost 100 million more. So the proof's there that, when they make the films about those top tier characters, people show up. But unfortunately, they didn't show up for Supergirl because if they, maybe have her appear in Man of Tomorrow first and then build her up a bit more before giving her a solo movie. Because the only Supergirl... obviously, the comic did really well, Woman of Tomorrow. Like, that was a very popular comic run. But the general audience their only experience of Supergirl was the CW show. And not many people even were really big fans. Like, it was mainly people who are already into sort of that universe. So, yeah, it's not a surprise that didn't do well. When it wasn't a great film anyway, so...
If Man of Tomorrow makes less than like 500, 600 million at the box office worldwide, is the DCU in trouble? Or are we being reactionary? Because a year ago we were saying the DCU was on fire and it's going to be incredible, and are we being a little reactionary? Or
the MCU didn't break $1 billion till Avengers, I don't think. So I think we should give it, we should be patient with it. We should give it more time. I do think Man of Tomorrow... before Supergirl, I was thinking, it's going to do really well, because, the DCU started off really well. But, I don't know, people did love Superman overall, so maybe people will come back for Man of Tomorrow. I do think it has to make more money than Superman did, because if it makes less than what Superman did, then I'll start to be worried, but I won't say, it's in trouble just yet. But I'll start to be a bit worried about it.
Because, if X-Men... Because that's, 28, 27, 28?
28, I think. I don't know if they've actually announced a date for it yet.
Okay, well, then I guess that's not a 1-to-1. I was just saying, is it... Would
2028, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying then we would expect the X-Men to dwarf whatever the DCU has going on as competition, right? Like it's
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right, all right, yeah, well, hopefully we get some better news about, the DCU and Batman 2 looks great though, but let's go to the MCU now.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Brand New Day.
Yes. So we're going to talk about Brand New Day again. Of course. We're going to do a Spider-Man film ranking, and we're going to do a live-action Spider-Man suit tier list. So if you're listening on audio only, when we get to that part, switch over to the video, because it'll still be good if you're just listening, but it'll be good for you to actually see the suits. But yes, Brand New Day. I've literally just got home from watching it again.
Okay.
And I still maintain that you were absolutely wrong in that first episode.
Okay, so before I go, just you watched it again, fire away. What are some of your thoughts? Whatever, I have to see it again because I'm trying to get into the IMAX screening.
Nice.
So that's why I haven't seen it yet. I won't lie to you, I have seen some stuff on social media, some scenes that I wanted to break down, and so I've seen enough to be able to do a critical analysis of the movie again.
Okay.
But yeah, I have to watch it again in IMAX and the XD screens and all of that. But yeah, you just saw it, bro. Literally, fire away. What
so,
comes to mind?
I do think that there is enough Spider-Man being Spider-Man in it, and when he is being Spider-Man, it is great. I will stand by that. I will argue with you till the end of days about that. I just absolutely love the story and what Peter goes through in the film. I feel like it's such a true Spider-Man story. I love. I didn't. I loved it the first time I saw it. The final bit with Jean, sort of keeping him alive and the breathing being in sync. But that hit me so much the second time because I was really paying attention to it. One thing I don't think I'll ever get tired of is the dynamic between Punisher and Peter, because Frank Castle, because they don't actually refer to him as Punisher in the movie. It's just so brilliant, and it's just that felt just like Spider-Man from the comics. You know, he's so pure, he's such a true hero, and I feel like that I still think it's maybe the most authentic Spider-Man movie because of that. It just shows who he is, and even though, you know, he's had such a bad time for the past 4 years, he's still being that hero. And when he saves the day at the end, it's because of his experiences and what he's been through. And he's an experienced Spider-Man now, and he's helping out a younger, well, not hero yet, but a younger character by, you know, everything that he's learned, everything he's been through, he uses that to tell her, you know, it's gonna be okay. And, you know, even though you've had this tremendous loss, that doesn't have to ruin your whole life, basically. And, you know, you're wrong.
Okay, so, okay, I was wrong. I wanna just, yeah, I was wrong, but I want to explain why I was wrong. I want to explain why.
Go ahead.
And you know, and
I
if
wish I had some popcorn in here.
you know, and if I still am worthy of getting cooked, then screw it, man. I get cooked. It is what it is. But okay. One of the things that I said, and I was 100% wrong about, and you called me out right on that episode, right last week. And afterwards I was like, ah, shit, yeah, he got me there. I said this didn't feel like a Spider-Man film, or it didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie to me because it felt like a MCU setup, right? I said that. I was wrong. I think there is an understanding of, like, listen, there's a business. Yes, Spider-Man is going to be the biggest eyes. We have always said for such a long time we want Spider-Man to be the main character. Okay, with that, there is an element you can't have your cake and eat it too. You want Spider-Man to be the main character in the MCU. There is going to be a bit of MCU setup in his movies then. And he needs to have a direct role then. You know? The key is, can we keep the character of Spider-Man the same while still understanding this is the ecosystem that we're in?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the answer was yes, they did it. So yeah, I was wrong. Like, I'll give you that. I was wrong. Spider-Man, this movie, it felt very much like did you ever play the Neversoft Spider-Man game? With the you know, where Doc Ock, it was on like N64 and Dreamcast, with Monster Ock Carnage.
Oh, no.
And
that's before my time. That I'm not as old as you.
Okay, well, yeah, well, you know, whatever, man. But you should play it because I think you could get it on your phone now if you have an iPhone or
really?
something. Yeah, I think you can like play Dreamcast games on your phone or GameCube or like the N64 on your phone. But Neversoft, Spider-Man, Neversoft Spider-Man. The story is very simple. There's like an expo thing, and Doc Ock steals a machine, but he sets it up to make it seem like he was robbed, but he was actually in on it. And Carnage lets off this machine that's full of gas, and it floods the entire city of New York. So gameplay wise, it incentivizes you to web swing because if you fall off the map, you die because the city's flooded with gas. Okay, but in that game, it is filled with Marvel characters. So he goes to Johnny Storm for advice because Mary Jane is kidnapped by Venom. So he's like, Johnny, what do I do? Punisher has the classic comic book panel with the, you know what I mean, with the sniper and the cuticle on Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, they have that, and Spider-Man turns around and like webs him, you know. Carnage is in the game. Captain America is in the game as well. Daredevil, I believe, Daredevil is in the game. Yeah. Black Cat is in the game, along with J. Jonah Jameson and Scorpion and Rhino. So that's an assortment of MCU, if you think about it. And their dynamic in that Neversoft game, I promise you, or even if you just YouTube or TikTok clips from that game and you'll see what I mean. It's those characters acted very similar to how the characters that Peter reacted with in the MCU and Brand New.
Mm,
Um, so, and I feel like the Raimi and the Andrew films, I feel like they, because they didn't have a lot of those MCU characters that they could play off of, right? So, as my era of Spider-Man fans, we were kind of used to a Spider-Man on his own. Like his world was so expansive that he was on his own, right? And one criticism that I had of Spider-Man, of the character in the MCU, was I've always wanted Spider-Man's world and the character to influence the MCU. But one of my biggest criticisms of the character, even though I loved Homecoming, like in Homecoming and the movies, going forward from there, was that I felt like the MCU was impacting Spider-Man rather than, yo, this is Spider-Man. Look at how much he brings to the MCU. Like when I found out Spider-Man was getting signed to the MCU, I was thinking, we're gonna have Craven showing up in Wakanda, like Easter egg, or like maybe Stark Enterprise, like Tony Stark gets a phone call, like Oscorp just outbid you for a missile or something like that, or like the Fantastic Four, or down the Baxter Building, down the street where Aunt May is working, like that's what I was thinking, Instead, it was more like, mentoring Spider-Man. So it was more of like, how can the MCU create their version of Spider-Man, right? So
yeah.
when I was watching this movie, when I first saw this movie was clearly very much an homage to the MCU. They're not doing a full reboot. They're homaging what happened, but they're trying to go somewhere new while acknowledging the past, doing something present. When I watched Brand New Day, I was thinking, okay, brand new everything. I want Harry Osborn. I want Gwen Stacy. I want Robbie, Robertson. I want Flash Thompson. Bring Tony Ravioli back because he's a great actor, but in a more serious role. Like, bring back like the classic Spider-Man, like '90s cast. Like that's what I was thinking. So when it was still kind of like I feel like a lot of that classic Spider-Man stuff would have naturally fit in that opening montage, but the story that they're showing is your past coming back. But to
Yeah.
me as an audience, I'm like, well, not really, because to us, we just saw that. Like the day before I saw Brand New Day, I saw No Way Home. So to me, I didn't feel that missing of 4 years. To me, it was like the day before. So to me, it was like, this is a wasted, remember how I said wasted opportunity? That's what I was saying. This is wasted opportunity because this is an opportunity to do brand new characters. But I think the brilliance of Spider-Man in the MCU, remember how I said like, oh, like I feel like the MCU is impacting Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always been the more normal part of the Marvel universe. The Fantastic Four are in space, mutants have like their DNA, like the weird, Mr. Sinister time travel back and forth. Avengers have their politics and all of theirs. You have the Illuminati, you got World War Hulk and everything. And then you have Spider-Man's side of it where Doc Ock has to deal with like trying to pay bills for his lab. Scorpion is, a felon. Rhino is trying to, try to get back to his wife. Electro has his problems, like J. Jonah Jameson misses his wife. Like Spider-Man part of the Marvel universe is more of an eyeglass on people and your day to day.
Yeah.
This movie did that. Out of all of like the Spider movies in the past, this one you clearly show that Peter really is a normal dude in a spandex and a skin tight suit, and there was no CGI in his action sequences. It was all hand to hand, and that's another credit I have to give to this movie that I wasn't initially when I saw it again. I do agree. I still will maintain there's not enough action for me. The action we did get was fantastic. So,
Yeah.
like I have to give the movie credit there. I just think when I saw Brand New Day initially, I was more like, well, not really, no brand new cast, no brand new anything, no brand new villain, no brand new. So that's when I came out of the movie. I'm like, what the hell? But then I went into the movie with my own expectations. And guys, whenever you critique a movie based on what you want, and rather than actually engaging with what it is on an intellectual level, you will unfortunately give a me review like I did last time. So that's what I will say. I think Brand New Day is a fantastic story. I think there's something powerful about, being told, I don't love you anymore. I don't even know you. That could kind of be the end of that, only for her to open up the conversation again. Like, well, do you still want to come upstairs and talk to Ned? And then that day ended up being a really healing, positive day that ended up healing the rest of New York because that opened up his pain and trauma to be able to give it to Jean Grey. Like, and like fantastic, like I have that is the best part. But remember how I said I felt like there wasn't enough Spider-Man action? I do agree with that. Like for example, like when Spider-Man, this is gonna be really nitpicky, but you remember how when Spider-Man webbed up a tombstone and then he was
Hmm.
walking and he was saying like all of this stuff is in the car. I'm like, bro, why the fuck is he walking? He's Spider-Man. That should be something where he's like wall crawling up the wall and talking to her, or like web swinging away or talking to her. Like I feel like every moment Spider-Man has an opportunity to kind of be as arachnid as he possibly can, he should have been. And
Hmm.
I was like, okay, and the Toby movies, any moment he put on the suit, he was like on the walls or web swinging. Same with Andrew. I feel like with Tom, he doesn't really like move like that, but that's very nitpicky. This is very much my the bricks have screws in them moment. Okay, very much. You know, that's not my
Yeah,
criticism.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
not a legitimate hill to die on. The only thing I will die on is I just feel like the action could have been on more. I feel like this movie was missing like an intense saving civilians scene, like how Toby had the barge scene, like how Toby had the train scene.
Mm,
Andrew had that saving the kid out of the fire scene. And
yeah,
really the Gwen Stacy saving her scene. Um, I you know I don't think Tom has had a high intense adrenaline. Oh my God, somebody's going to die scene because I feel like we all called it to Andrew's going to catch MJ. I feel like we all called that.
yeah,
So, I just felt like there was something that was missing from that angle. But
yeah,
some one of the comments actually in one of our videos said, "Bro, this is kind of a reboot of Spider-Man." I forget who said it, but it's like this is a soft reboot of Spider-Man. You have to establish the Peter Parker character first. Um, you have to do that first before you can really delve into the Spider-Man stuff. This movie did that. On first I gave it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Now I'd give it like an 8, 8.5, 8.9 out of 10. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really good. I think it's the true successor to Homecoming.
mhm.
Um,
I I do get what you're saying about like there's the lack of that sort of iconic fight sequence because in Spider-Man 2 you don't actually see Spider-Man for a lot of that movie, but that once the train scene especially is just so memorable and so iconic because of how good it is. Uh, and therefore it gets away with not having Spider-Man on the screen for a lot of the time because what you do get is so good. So I think that's maybe a fair point, but and some of the coolest Spider-Man stuff in Brand New Day was shown in the trailer, like you
yeah,
said last
bro.
time. But I still think that it's like the fight scene with the hand at the end where he embraces who he is. He embraces he's both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I still think that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and especially when you look at it from a culmination of his character arc from this point, because if you look at Homecoming, Tom Holland's Spider-Man was very much like Spider-Man, Spider-Man. I want to be Spider-Man. I don't want to be Peter Parker because it's boring. And then the final third happened, and it's like, oh my God, like people die. Which again, you can argue, well, if Uncle Ben happened, this whole arc isn't necessary, but we have acknowledged that as like Tom Holland's origin story definitely had some muddled studio interference. Some of it does not make
Yeah,
sense. We're just gonna have to, if we love Star Wars and the Clone Wars saga, there's the same thing that happened in there, and we're just gonna have to apply that same logic here. It is what it is, or whatever. But I think Tom Holland's he was trying to, go all in on Spider-Man. Then in Far From Home, he realized, oh, maybe I bit more off of what I can, chew, and then No Way Home showed him to do the right thing. It's going to cost you, but it's still going to benefit in the end. So No Way Home showed him like, that is finally his maturation perspective of like you can do the right thing with great power comes great responsibility. It's going to cost you, but even if it costs you, good is at the end. And it has finally kind of flipped Spider-Man from like this trauma porn character to a character of like strength and enduring. And I
hmm,
feel like this movie does that too, because like remember how I said earlier, I've wanted Spider-Man to influence and impact the MCU, what he brings to it, and he did that here too, because a normal person, Aunt May, single-handedly saved New York City with that conversation to Jean Grey.
hmm,
And that was really powerful because Jean Grey came from a family and parents who did not accept her. And Aunt May, a normal person, and she's a mutant, right? So she's probably used to normal people hating her, and a normal person like saying such a really powerful thing. And that's another reason why I feel like I lashed out at the movie. it talked to me, and I just didn't want to talk back to it because I don't know, it just kind of got me vulnerable, and I don't want to like get into all that. But when Aunt May was kind of talking to Jean Grey, I was like, damn, like outside of like Bree's mom and dad, nobody's really like told me that. I mean, like friends don't count. I'm talking like from an elder's perspective. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's different. Your homies can say you're the best. You're the best. It's different when somebody older. You know what I mean?
No,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
and so I kind of like I felt like Jean Grey in a moment, and then I was like, nah, I don't want to feel vulnerable, bro. Screw that. It just made me feel uncomfortable. So, but then when I actually engaged with it, that was really powerful. This and I think it works. You know, this movie is like establishing who Peter Parker is, and he's a person who's always going to care and try to give people a second chance and try to make the best out of it. Because that's really the character of Spider-Man. He took something scary, a spider bite, made something the best out of it, which is the friendly neighborhood
Hmm.
Spider-Man. You know, and it's the same thing here. He lost everything. He did everything trying to do the right thing, and Green Goblin and everything, and he lost his whole identity. And what happened to Jean Grey? She was trying to do the right thing, and she lost everything. And the VMAX reveal, I feel like we haven't talked about that enough. That
No,
was
we've not.
incredible writing, dog. That was incredible writing. I thought VMAX was some sort of super mutant sentinel crap, and then it was just Ventmax. And
And
that's
everything that show, everything that Jean had been doing to that point was like futile because it wasn't this big thing, and her sister was just dead, and the way she lashed out after that was like, yeah, this is Jean Grey. And but that reveal, like when I saw it tonight, we took my mum with us, and she hadn't seen the film yet, and she was sat next to me, and when that reveal, she just went, and like they just played it so well because they'd been building it up, and of course you're gonna think it's some secret weapon type thing or something like that, and the fact it's just a bit a sign, a sticker on an air vent that's coming off a bit, like that was so well played.
this movie. If I had to talk about this movie in a sentence, like this movie is it's emblematic of the lesson of taking something terrible and making the best out of it. So Peter, you know, bit by the spider, it's the best thing out of it. Try to be Spider-Man, lost his identity, lost everything because of No Way Home, tried to do the best thing out of it, like continue being Spider-Man, looking out for the little guy, doing the right stuff. And in this case, the worst thing that happened in Jean Grey, like if you look at no Brand New Day, and I said this last episode, but No Way Home and Brand New Day is really a continuation, part one and part two, because Brand New
Mm-hmm.
Day is really Spider-Man imparting the messages that he learned in No Way Home to Jean Grey in a very true Spider-Man comic book, true to character fashion. Um, so yeah, like, and this is stuff I wouldn't have gotten at first because I was looking at it. Where is Harry Osborn? Where is this? Where is that? Like, I was like, where is J. Jonah Jameson? Where is his money problems? Like, I was looking at it more from like a checklist of where are the classic Spider-Man stuff, and not looking at it for I am podcasting. You cannot get on the table. You cannot get on the table. Sorry. But yeah, no, like I think that's a lesson that for audiences, like, when you're looking at something, it's important to have your initial opinion, but also, try to engage with something on a critical level,
But
and
when a film is tackling something as deep as that, you might not fully grasp it straight away because it's such a complex and deep idea that when you go in the movies, you might not grab that the first time. You need time to sit with it and think about it to truly understand what it is.
and yeah, I think the lesson of this is like to give a really funny story to you guys, okay? Um, you can't do anything alone, right? So one thing, and I realize this movie is right. Couple weeks ago, ever since the World Cup has ended, Cleveland has been doing like free soccer, no registration down at the pier. Okay, so I went, and there was like 50 people there, and it was just me by myself. And there was like 50 people there, and there was already games going, and I was like, I gotta go. There's no games for me. So, and I realized like, okay, if I had friends or if I had somebody to go with me, like if I had you here or something like that, then we could have actually played. And I was thinking about that too. Like that would have been good for my mental health, I guess, just to play some games. And it was good for Peter and his mental health to, build Legos with Ned. So that was something that I was like, yeah, this movie is right. You can't do it alone,
Mm-hmm.
You should have people in your corner who love you because that's what makes you you. And that is classic friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So again, when I said this movie didn't feel like Spider-Man, no, this was classic Spider-Man. Spider-Man's part of the MCU is always like that friendly neighborhood, small neighborhood feel vibe part of the Marvel universe. That is what makes the Spider-Man character in his universe tick, is that neighborhood feel, is the heartbreaking moment of, oh, Sandman has a sick daughter. Oh, Otto has an autoimmune disorder. Like that's what like it's Spider-Man's heart is what makes his stories tick. And that's the character. That's what's emblematic of the character. If you don't take anything from Spider-Man, it is somebody who takes something that's given to him and makes the best out of it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this is a hot take. I feel like Spider-Man is the modern day's answer to Superman. Because Bree said to her, Brand New Day was more hopeful than Superman.
I agree. Like, and that shows how good Brand New Day is, because Superman was one of the most hopeful superhero films we've had in recent times. But yeah, I agree with that. 'Cause he's more relatable character. The issues he has are the issues that everyone has. Everyone has relationship issues. Everyone has money issues. Everyone, has had awkward moments in elevators and stuff like that. You can't relate to Superman. Even though he's, the message of Superman was great, and it's a very hopeful movie, and that you can take a lot away from that. You can't personally relate to his struggles, but everyone can relate to Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's. I think like the only thing I could relate to Superman, like in this iteration of Superman, is when he was kind of talking to Lois Lane and he was getting frustrated. Like people are dying. That was really relatable. Because I feel like in this world today, like you can tell people like horrible stuff is happening and they'll try to justify it, and you just feel rageful. Like, what is wrong with you? And so it was kind of cool to see Superman had that same instinct in him. And it's like, oh, you don't have anger problems. You love people. Like, okay, like, so there was, that was cool to see. But I understand exactly what you mean in terms of the relatability factor. I think Superman and Spider-Man, they're very similar characters, but, and also like, to keep the episode going, I know in this movie we talk about how this kind of pushes Spider-Man, the character forward in a way, because I feel like he's been kind of trapped in trauma porn for such a long time. Torture, his life is going, and this movie showed like, no, like, yeah, bad stuff can happen, but you can move forward and have a hopeful attitude. Like the worst thing that can happen actually isn't that bad. Peter was told, I don't love you anymore, only to find out she might in the future. And he would have never thought that because he was so afraid. Like sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is not that bad, like,
Yeah.
I thought that was like a really powerful thing, something that soothed my anxiety. But I think a classic issue that we have in Spider-Man media is how does he balance protecting the ones he loves and the Peter Parker life with Spider-Man, the superhero identity? So my question to you is, going forward, what do you see for Spider-Man 5 in the stories? I know we just got Spider-Man 4. I know we got to rank the stories and everything, but I want to ask you this because you had such a... I don't want to give my perspective on it because I was wrong about the movie. I think you have a better understanding. Where would you take Spider-Man 5? How would you balance the fact that this story is kind of taking Spider-Man in a different direction where he can have friends and family and it doesn't have to be this... juxtaposition of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. They can be integrated. They can be on the same page, but how do you have that and then also have a villain and a situation and that also actively challenges that and completely throws everything on its head in terms of a drama fashion? Like how do you follow this up in a way that makes sense?
So I think obviously we'll have to see what happens in Secret Wars, but what I would love to see is a classic like Spider-Man gang like warfare mob story. Like say that the main villain's like Tombstone or Hammerhead or Kingpin or something like that, and maybe like in the games he goes and takes down the bases and gets clues and stuff like that, but a proper like street level crime story where he's taking down a gang, something like that. But from what you told me about the death of Jean DeWolf, if he gets the black suit in Secret Wars, I'd love to see them adapt that in Spider-Man 5. But I do kind of agree with what you said about we do want to see some of the tick box stuff at some point. Like I do want to see Harry Osborn introduced at some point, definitely. Oscorp has to be introduced. Like you can't we can't go 6 Spider-Man movies without Oscorp or Harry Osborn at least. And I would like the next, even though I love this movie, as you know we've spoke about at length. I would love to have a classic Spider-Man villain that we haven't seen yet in live action be the main villain. That's what I want. Maybe like Hammerhead, or bring Wilson Fisk into it. Because you know Vincent D'Onofrio's fantastic, and he's only been in TV shows so far in the MCU. But obviously that what's happening with Daredevil Born Again, you know, his story might be done by the time Spider-Man 5's out. But yeah, I want to see a classic Spider-Man villain that we haven't seen yet. That's my main hope for the next one.
Who would be your classic Spider-Man villain? And when you mean Spider-Man villain, do you mean like the one that's going to be the physical threat? Because you have Kingpin and Tombstone and stuff here, but like when you mean villain, like do you mean those two, or do you mean like somebody else?
I mean like one of those you could have.
Okay.
I'll say that we haven't seen Craven yet because we're not counting that Craven movie as a movie that exists, because we don't need to speak about that. So maybe they do a Craven movie. Maybe Craven's hunting Spider-Man in one of them. You know, Craven's Lost Hunt sort of thing. Everyone always talks about that when they mention Craven. Yeah, just someone that we haven't seen in live action yet. That's what I want. But I also want to see Black Cat. Because if, you know, say he's distant from MJ now. They're still, you know, they're friends now. But he's single. So maybe they introduce Black Cat and have something there.
Chase
I think
Infinity. Like you said.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, that'd be very good. But I think because him and MJ are inevitably gonna come back together at some point, so before that happens, now's the time to do it. Because like this is the best chance you're gonna have to do it. But I also want to see them start sowing the seeds for Miles Morales as well, because we know Tom Holland's gonna hand over to Miles at some point. He said that they've got a plan for that. So it'd be cool if we start seeing the seeds for that being planted in the next one.
Bro, I think so. Here's what I think. I think one in Spider-Man 5, they should make Peter a teacher, a substitute teacher, or something like that, and then Miles is one of the kids in his classroom.
Yeah,
and maybe that's just the role. He's just a kid, and then maybe in Spider-Man 6 is where you start doing like the Spider-Man. But in just in Spider-Man 5, he's just a kid who's heartwarming to Peter or something like that.
Yeah, like the way in the game in the first Insomniac game, he got bit in the post-credit scene of the first one. He was just a kid. He was part of Peter's sort of orbit.
I thought Brand New Day was going to really emphasize like how he's going to make his money. He's on his own now, working class. So remember my theory? I said, you know, maybe the Morales family hires Peter to be a tutor for Miles. Like I thought like that would be such a cool way. But again, like they didn't really. That's another issue of a minor issue. Brand New Day is like I feel like they're not really going to establish Peter's financial issues as a character going forward. I feel like that's in the past, which is, it's okay. Maybe it comes back in maybe a specific movie. That's a predominant trope. I don't know. But I think for Spider-Man 5, another question I had what would be the predominant MCU thing that's going on in the universe that would kind of allow a gang war? Because right now in the MCU, we kind of have like the mutants and like, you know, Battle World and all of that coming together, and that kind of it didn't influence Brand New Day's story because it was his own thing, but that was kind of like the backdrop. For the gang war that kind of happened, what we were saying, what do you think the MCU's backdrop would need to be for that to happen?
Okay.
Or would they Far From Home it? Because that's, I feel like, the only Spider-Man Tom Holland movie that did its own thing.
Yeah, I've got my opinions on that movie. I do enjoy it, but we'll get onto that. That's a really good question. I feel like it more ties into the sort of the Daredevil stuff of the MCU rather than the big picture ties more into the small potatoes than the big potatoes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel like anything that happens in Secret Wars, apart from him potentially getting the black suit, will impact it very much. But yeah, it's hard to tell, really, because we don't know what state the MCU is going to be in. But maybe, if there is a bit of a reset, the Avengers aren't active, they're sort of disbanded. The X-Men are just getting together, so there's not as many superheroes out there, possibly. So the gangs have been allowed to sort of rise up again and sort of start. Maybe there's a time skip, because obviously the Black Panther movie, T'Challa's he's a kid now and he's going to be a lot older in that movie. So maybe when all the heroes return to Earth after Secret Wars, maybe it's been like 10 years or something, or 5-10 years, and there's been no Spider-Man there to protect New York. So something like that, possibly. That's probably a way they could do it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, I think a New York and chaos post Battle World, I mean, that's far from home, like Spider-Man's life in chaos post, Endgame. So yeah, I think that fits. I think that works. I'm just really excited. Do you think we're going to get Spider-Man 5 before 5 years? Because I know Naruto is coming out in or they're shooting it 2027, and they want Daniel, DDC, Destin Daniel Cretton to come back, and I want him to come back. I think we all want him to come back. But is it a situation of the Batman where it's like we got to wait 5 years? And also Tom Holland is 30 now. Do we want to really do that,
I think because of how successful this movie's been, and it could end up breaking $2 billion, I hope it does. I think they're going to want to do the second one as soon as they can. Secret Wars, they haven't started filming yet, so that might get delayed a bit. So if that gets pushed back to 2028, then 3 years, probably 3 years, maybe 2029 will be the next Spider-Man. That'll allow Destin Daniel Cretton to... Do you say Naruto shooting 2027?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll give him time to do that. But obviously they want him to do Shang-Chi too as well. So...
Bro, that Shang-Chi's... Like, I'm not disrespecting Shang-Chi because I thought it was a class movie, but, I mean... Bro, Shang-Chi is the Wrexham of superheroes, and Spider-Man is... Like, bro, out of, like, I feel like in terms of commercial... Yeah, exactly. I feel like out of a commercial value alone, not in terms of, like, the values, but just commercial value... Spider-Man is the Real Madrid of superheroes, bro.
Spider-Man has to take the priority over Shang-Chi, but
yeah,
I would love a Shang-Chi too.
Yeah, like, I just, like, you're not going to prioritize Wrexham over Real Madrid. Like, you're not going to, I don't know, like, maybe Naruto, I could see if they do a really good job, like, because then you can put something in his, resume, like, if he does Naruto really well. But, I don't know, man. We'll see. I thought that he did such a fantastic job with this. I think that, real quick before we rank the movies and the suits, the John Watts hate is a little justified, but not really. It's justified because he truly did not have the vision to truly encapsulate a Spider-Man epic. Like, I think, this is a hot take, I think John Watts is the worst director to make No Way Home. Like, other directors could have taken that movie and made it way more of a visual and story spectacle. Imagine Christopher Nolan, give him the keys to No Way Home. Imagine, like, Sam Raimi, No Way Home. Like, imagine, like, I just feel like John Watts, like, that last, like, like, people talk about, the goblin fight sequence in the building. It was not that great. Like, it was not that good.
It was very good. It was very good.
It was cool, but, like...
I do agree, though. I do think it would have been hard to mess up No Way Home because of the story of it was so good. Mm-hmm. You would have had to actively be trying to make it bad to mess up that movie.
Yeah.
I do kind of agree.
Zack Snyder would have cooked on No Way Home, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, imagine, like, the Snyder cut version of No Way Home, bro. That shit would be epic, bro. That would be incredible. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Zack Snyder, If you can make a No Way Home Snyder cut, I'll watch that. Like, bro, like I don't know. I'm going
I
off.
am 100% putting that out as a clip.
Oh my, like imagine that, like, like the slow mo and MJ is like, falling through the sky, but like with the Zack Snyder effect.
And then
Like,
MJ's like, "Wait, your mom's called Martha too?"
oh my god. Okay, you know what? I still don't understand why he didn't just say mom, bro. I still don't understand why he. Anyway, like I can.
They were just writing it and they thought, "Oh, both their mums are called Martha. Why have we not realised that? We've got to do something with that."
Yeah, Norman Osborn is about to kill Spider-Man, but then their mom's name are both Martha or some shit. Like, okay, let's rank.
Yeah,
these.
yeah. We need. It's
Do you,
getting.
do you want to do Suits first, or do you want to do movies?
Let's do movies first, because I'm not sure how the share screen thing works on this. So we'll talk through the movie rankings, and then we'll try and share the screen and do the tier list.
Okay, all right.
Are we including the Spider-Verse movies, or are we just doing live action?
That's up to you, because that changes it quite a bit.
It does. It's because across changes things. Yeah, let's include them. They're great movies.
Because they have live action actors in them, like Andrew, like his in Across, like yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's only right to. I've got it up on here. I'm just editing my ranking now, inserting the Spider-Verse movies. Okay, so should we? Do you have a list in mind? Do you have your ranking sort of sorted?
Yeah.
Okay. So should we start at the bottom? We both say our number 11 and then our number 10 and then so on.
Yeah.
Or should we? Okay, let's do that. So in 11th place, this might be controversial. I've got Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Huh. Okay.
What's your 11th place?
I see why you put it down there. It is down the bottom for me. I think the worst for me is it's got to be TASM 2.
Okay. See,
that's got to be the worst.
I will sort of have a disclaimer here. I don't hate any Spider-Man movie. Like, I love all of them in their own way. But with Far From Home, it's a fun movie. I enjoy watching it, but it doesn't feel like a Spider-Man movie. I feel like, it's cool seeing him in different locations, whatever, but Spider-Man has to be in New York. His character's so tied to the city of New York. So yeah, it's still it's still a fun movie to watch. But TASM 2 for me is next. TASM 2 is number 10 on my list. But I do kind of love it. It's got the best suit. I think the highs of TASM 2 are some of the best Spider-Man we've ever seen. But the lows are really bad. Do you agree? Or do you just hate it?
I might have to put Far From Home at the bottom now. Yeah, you
Far From Home was that number 10?
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
So we
Far
have the
From
same
Home
bottom
is at the
two,
bottom.
just yeah. Okay.
I would say Far From Home is genuinely like it's a fun movie to watch. It's like a Disney movie for Spider-Man. So like I was looking at it at first from like no, it's actually like a quality movie. But like we're Spider-Man nerds. Is it a good Spider-Man movie? Outside of the post-credit scene, hell no. So like yeah, I would say from that perspective it's towards the bottom. Although I will say, there are elements of Far From Home, like the Parker look is rampant in that movie. I will say like the Mysterio sequence. I love how they implemented spider sense. And that final web swinging drone thing was actually really cool.
And everything with MJ as well, and the secret identity and her discovering it is really good.
Yeah, like that's it. I Far From Home and TASM 2 and TASM I feel like are same. They're like they're like the same. Like they're like a triangle, points of the same shape. Like they're the same.
Far From Home's a better movie, but TASM is a better Spider-Man movie.
Yes, I will agree. Yes, yeah.
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 I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Ninth place, I've gone Spider-Man 3. I do love that movie so much, but the other ones are better. But Spider-Man 3 is such a fun movie. I think you've got to just embrace the cringe, and I've got so much nostalgia for it 'cause it was the first Spider-Man movie I saw in the cinema when I was 6 years old. And the black suit is so good. But we'll get on to our opinions on the suits in a bit. But it's a fun movie. What's in your ninth place?
So 10th we both said was Far From Home, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, 10th. Okay.
No, Far
Ninth.
From Home was 11th for me. TASM
Okay.
2 was 10th.
Okay, so yeah, we're the same. So Far From Home and TASM 2. So now, I would say for me it's TASM 1.
Really?
I'd say for me it's TASM 1. I think the suit is shit. But I think the worst suit is the Raimi suit. That I'm gonna get to that. Like, I think
okay.
I think the worst Spider-Man suit of all time is the Raimi suit. But I'm gonna get there.
We won't say too much. We'll get onto the suits.
But yeah, the suit is shit. Uncle Ben is an idiot. He charged that bank robber was like, bro, please just let me get my $5 in peace and go. And Uncle Ben was like, no, and then charged him. He charged the Metalingus, bro. In the episode, like, can you please like edit like the rated R Superstar Edge Metalingus music? Because that's what Uncle Ben did. He went like, you think you know me, da, 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 and then like tried to spear him, only for him to get pow pow pow. Like that's literally what happened. Uncle Ben saw WrestleMania with Rated R Superstar Edge and was like, it's my time to be WWE champion for Peter Parker. And then that's what happened. No, like everything about that movie, it has the lowest replay value for me. There is no highs in TASM. The only high that I get in TASM is when Flash went up to Peter and Peter threw him against the locker and Flash was like, yo, man, I'm truly sorry. Like, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, that scene's very good.
That is it. That is justice for Flash from the TASM movies, bro. That was it. But, yeah, there's just nothing in TASM. Like, I will rewatch clips from TASM 2. Like, when Peter is talking to Electro and trying to calm him down in Times Square, tell me that's not a top 5 Spider-Man characterization, dog. Like, that is so good. That is so good. He's like, hey, don't sit on the, grates, just stay there. Nobody shoot at Max. Like, it was so, like, you could tell Peter was truly desperate and reaching out to him, Like, I love it. And the same way Peter was doing that to Jean Grey here. Like, but there's nothing in TASM for me to do that, for me to rewatch.
Really?
So there's nothing, bro. There's nothing for me. The web shooters are cool, but also like the whole reneging on Captain Stacy and just going back to Gwen. Like, while I get it, like, it's romantic.
I do agree that should have happened in the next movie.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like a cheap way to, I don't know who's blasting music down the street. I'm all the way on the 13th floor. But can you hear that?
I can hear it. We'll be able to work around that.
All right, okay.
But
Yeah.
it's fine.
But there's just nothing for me for TASM 1 for me, like, at all. For me it's I would say TASM, I would say Far From Home. I would say TASM and then TASM 2. Like, I think TASM 2 is a little better than TASM 1.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're obviously talking through each film as we go through the list, but at the end we'll give like a quick, one by one.
Yeah.
So in 8th place, I've got Spider-Man: Homecoming.
What? Whoa. We gotta. Okay, why?
Well, it's nothing against Homecoming. It's just the films I have above it I prefer. I love Homecoming. It's it's a great movie. It's it's the exact type of film you'd expect to get of a Peter Parker of that age. Because he's 14, 15 in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I do love it. The scene with Vulture in the car, and then when he opens the door of the house up until the end of the movie, it's just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is great, but there's just, because he's so young and he's so inexperienced, it's just missing that that spark for me. But I gave it 4.5 stars. Like, I still love that movie. But it's
Okay.
just every other movie I think is a better Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my 8th place. What's your 8th place?
Um, I'm going with Spider-Man. I'm going with Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
I'm going with Spider-Man. And it is for the same reasons of what you said. I think the other movies do the Spider-Man elements a little bit better. And I know that's kind of like, I think what Homecoming does better than Spider-Man is honestly the Peter Parker characterization. Well, Toby nails like
Mm,
the sad, lovable guy that's just getting pushed around element. When he puts on the mask, he's just so dour. And I just can't, like, I don't know. I think that's a big part. I think a big part of Spider-Man's psychology is kind of like social media. You put on the mask, now you want to say whatever you want, and that's Peter because he hasn't been able to do that because he's bullied and stuff, right? And
yeah.
well, actually, I would put Spider-Man 3. Actually, I'd put Spider-Man 3. I'd put
Oh, you're putting
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3 in 8th. Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting Spider-Man 3. Because I Spider-Man 3 is more rewatchable because of the action, but the story is just not as good as 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. So I was more looking at it from like a what have I literally seen more? I've seen 3 more than 1, but
Mhm.
1 is better. So yeah, I would put Spider-Man 3 next for me.
So in 7th place, I've got
Mhm.
TASM 1. So I've got that above Homecoming.
Okay.
Um, I love that movie. That movie came out 2012, so that was when I was between primary school, elementary school in the States, and I was about to start high school, and I basically built my entire personality based on Andrew Garfield in that movie. Like, I got a skateboard. I started, putting my hair up in a quiff. I cut
Oh, that's awesome.
holes in the wrists of me hoodie so I could put my thumbs through them like he does. Um, that movie came out such like a formative time in my life that uh, I really really connected with it, and obviously I grew up on the Toby movies. Like, I've still got the VHS of the first Toby movie, and when I was a kid, every single time that someone would be one of my sisters or my mum or my dad would be looking after me, I'd put that movie on. But when TASM came out, it was just at the right time for me to really connect with it and get into it. That's why it's maybe a bit higher on mine. And I do. We will get onto this. I kind of like the suit.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it just looks like the type of suit that someone would be able to make themselves. If you get me, like the Toby suit and even the second Andrew suit, they don't look like a teenager with no money would be able to make them.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the sort of, you can tell that where he's got the lenses from. You can tell that the boots are like, sports type shoes and stuff like that. It really looks like he could have made it himself. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But what's your number 7? Is that where you're putting the first Toby one? Oh,
No, then I'm gonna put Spider-Man Homecoming there.
okay.
I'll put Homecoming there. Um, Homecoming, I think that final third, like everything that I've wanted in a classic Spider-Man film is in Spider-Man 1 and 2 and is in Homecoming. I think
Hmm.
Homecoming takes those elements and makes it MCU slash Disney a bit, and then in the third act, reality hits you in the face and you have to grow up. Versus in
Yes. Yeah.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
1 and 2, it's very much like people are getting vaporized in Times Square and people are getting murdered in the hospital scene. And then, it's so I think, yeah, for that element, I would put Homecoming a bit below. Because also, Homecoming is underrated. He fought Vulture on a plane. And they nailed the
Yeah.
whole Spider-Man is like an annoying, like, like the Scooby-Doo villains, they like hate the Scooby-Doo gang because they
These
keep
meddling
catching them.
kids.
Yeah, Spider-Man had that element. Like, I loved when Vulture is like looking at Spider-Man like on the plane and he's like, ah, you know what I mean? And like just free, like, like I kind of it nailed that Spider-Man is really annoying. So that I would put Homecoming there simply because the other movies that we're about to talk about have just nailed those elements way better.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Number 6, I've gone with Spider-Man, the first Tobey one.
Okay.
I've got so much nostalgia for that movie. I love it so much. I've seen it probably more than I've seen any other movie. It's at this point, it's just the ones above it are just better. It's not any. I still think it's like one of the best superhero movies. It's a pretty much a perfect film. What more can you say about it that's not already been said? Yeah, I love that movie so much, and I've watched it so many times. But the movies above it are just better. That's what it is at this point. What's your number 6?
I'd put No Way Home there.
Right. Okay.
I'd put No Way Home there. Simply because No Way Home as a story, as a Spider-Man fan, I'll rewatch it, but just as a movie, it's not great. Um, but again, like, it did what it needed to do. It was impossible to mess this movie up. And,
Yeah.
it did what it needed to do. I think the most important thing this movie did, it didn't fall into the trope of making it an epic extravaganza for Andrew and Toby, but rather building Tom's character. I think that is what it needed to do, and it finally did it. And you couldn't have had Brand New Day without No Way Home. I just think it's a situation of the movies that we're going to talk, like you said, are just better.
Yeah.
And I just think like the action in No Way Home just does not compare, and the web swinging seal does not compare to the others. So that's where I would put.
I would have liked to have seen a No Way Home that was made outside of the pandemic, because I think that really hampered it a bit. Like some of the scene with Flash that everyone always posts. He was on his own filming that because he couldn't be where everyone else was. Same with Sandman and Lizard. They just reused scenes from the previous movies.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, if it had been released, I've said this before on the pod, if it had been released outside of a pandemic and been released in China, that would be the highest grossing movie of all time.
Oh, I
Without a
agree.
shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
It made
I agree.
1.9 billion during a pandemic without China. Spider-Man films normally make like 500 million in China, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So, 5th place, I've got Into the Spider-Verse. Very, very good movie. I love that movie so much. It really cemented for me Miles as like, he's not just the Miles Morales Spider-Man, he is Spider-Man. He really proved that they proved that the character of Miles is worthy of the title of Spider-Man in that movie.
Yeah.
And at that point, we'd never really seen an animated film that looked like that. Like the animation styles and the different frame rates of the characters. So good. Yeah, that's my number 5. What's your number 5?
I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man.
Okay.
And I feel like now we're in the top 5. So now all of these movies, no matter what, are class. Not that everything else wasn't, but like now it's a matter of where you want to put them. I'd go Spider-Man. To me, the effect of TASM 1 had for you, Spider-Man had for me. Those sequences of him walking up the walls after just getting his powers, webbing, the slow-mo sequences, chasing. Spider-Man understood to get people to buy into superhero movies, you need to make it a VR simulation, really. That's really what you have to do. And you really have to make people understand the drama and the excitement behind these powers and the life that you have in Spider-Man. And the Spider-Man did it for me. Like to me, the most iconic superhero sequences are the duh, 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 duh. Like the music and and
they've
then
got the best music out of any Spider-Man
he like
film,
looks down
like
and
the
he's like,
score.
oh,
Yeah.
there's just something. And then like I remember as a kid, I'm like, bro, I wanted that. It was made with a scale and a love for the character. To me, Spider-Man, like, bro, like that's a top 5. Yeah, like I would have Spider-Man as 5.
4th place, I've gone Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
We've already spoken at length on many episodes of this how much we love that movie. As I've said, I was having dreams about the trailer before the trailer came out. I was having nightmares about being in the cinema about to watch it and then them coming and dragging me out because I didn't have a ticket. Like that, we were obsessed with that movie for months and months, and that opening night when Andrew and Toby showed up, like, I will never forget that experience till the day I die. Like, you see the videos of audiences in America really reacting when things happen in comic book movies. That doesn't happen in this country. We are so reserved and laid back. And even in Endgame, when Captain America picked up Mjolnir, there was silence.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And that was opening night.
Bro, over here, people were like, it was like fireworks were going. It was
people were
insane.
like, you heard murmurs, people going like, oh, it was a bit very British reserved reactions. But when Andrew showed up, everyone was like screaming, like, ah! Like clapping, and people lost their minds. That's how good that film is, and that's how good those reveals were. Obviously, everyone kind of knew they were going to be in there, but we still weren't 100%. We were like 99.9%. But there's still that little voice in the back of our minds being like, but are they actually going to show up? So when they did, like, it brought that thing out of the British audiences that never really has been seen before. And it's even though it's fourth on my list of the Spider-Man movies, it is in my top 4 favorites of all time on my Letterboxd profile. So
Okay.
even though I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie, it's my personal favorite.
Okay.
So, yeah. What's your number 4?
Number 4, I'm going with Brand New Day. Number 4, I'm
Okay.
going with Brand New Day. I think now looking at it from a new perspective and everything, and the new perspective is accurate as well. I would say, yeah, like, I feel a little bit different about it. And it has a message that I really put, like, I was contemplating, what do I put next, Spider-Man 2 or Brand New Day? And I think Spider-Man 2 is the better film, but I think Brand New Day had the better message. Because in Spider-Man
Right.
2, Spider-Man was resolved to, well, self-sacrifice and isolation is what I need to do to make sure kids aren't burning in buildings. And it kind of worked out because Mary Jane came back to him, and it was like the universe is rewarding him. Versus in Brand New Day, it was like, no, like, you can rebuild something new because the past has changed. There is no going back. Like, it is
Yeah.
sad, but you can build something new. I feel like it was a bit more hopeful and realistic than Spider-Man 2, especially in these times. But I think Spider-Man 2 just nails like those classic Spider-Man elements that I grew up on,
Mhm.
and that I feel like Spider-Man Brand New Day built on and will implement in future films. But I think for now, Spider-Man 2 and Brand New Day are just right there. Maybe in the future it changes, but for now I'm putting Brand New Day at my 4.
So number 3, I've got Brand New Day.
Okay.
So I've got one position higher, but at this point, there's not much between them, is there? I don't need to say anymore. Just listen to this episode and the last episode to know why I love that film so much. Yeah, Brand New Day is my number 3. What's your number 3?
Number 3, I'm going with Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
I'm going with
So I know what your top 2 are.
Yeah. I'm going with Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man 2 just did everything perfectly, bro. It did everything perfectly. I just think the one thing Spider-Man 2 in hindsight kind of did that damaged the Spidey community, which I think is more on the fans and not at the film, is that fans kind of took that aspect of Peter Parker's life and that element of the character arc that time to say that that is all the character can ever be. And Spider-Man 2 kind of froze the character into like trauma and like trauma porn and like endless suffering constantly, because that's what Toby was going through in the character. But Brand New Day pushes the character again where it needs to go, which what it's like in the comics, actually, which is more of a character of enduring rather than just needlessly suffering. So that's why I was contemplating Brand New Day or Spider-Man 2, but I feel like Spider-Man 2 just had a little bit better web swinging and like action for me to put it a little bit above, if that makes sense. Even though Brand New Day, I
Yeah.
think, had more of the poignant message, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So what's your 2?
My number 2 is Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
As I said earlier this episode, you don't actually see Spider-Man much in that movie, but it works. And when you do see him, it's some of the most iconic Spider-Man stuff we've ever seen. And similarly to Brand New Day, it looks at him balancing Peter and Spider-Man. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, maybe it's between him and Willem Dafoe for the best villain performance in a Spider-Man movie.
Yes, I
The
agree.
arms look so good for the time. The CGI really,
Mhm.
really. Well, I know it was a mix of CGI and practical. Um,
But it was incredible. It looked, bro. I was scared of those arms. Like they were, because they were
yeah,
killing
yeah, yeah.
people. People, we forget they were killing people. Like
Yeah,
it was
you
scary.
really see Sam Raimi bring his horror experience, in that scene where they're trying to, cut the arms off him. Um, but yeah, we could also speak about Mary Jane in that movie and why she is terrible. But
She sucks. Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane sucks.
no, she's Kirsten Dunst is good, but the character's bad.
No, yeah, her Mary Jane, yeah, her Mary
Yeah,
Jane
but
sucks. Yeah, she's good.
do you know
Yeah.
what's really interesting though is so they re-released the Raimi trilogy last year in the cinema, and I watched all three in one day. It's incredible. But they played the extended version of Spider-Man 2, so which I'd never actually seen before. There's a few things about it. First of all, before I get onto the MJ stuff, they edit the scene with Mr. Aziz at the beginning, and where Peter's just stood there and he goes, "Go!"
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Whenever I'm stuck in traffic, I always like do an impression
Is
of that.
that where he's like Nadim got deported?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yes,
they add
yes.
that into it, but his go is a different one. They changed it,
Okay. Okay.
which that's just nitpicky thing. But there's an extra scene with MJ where she's with her friend who's in the play with her.
Hmm.
There's an extra scene where they're like shopping for like wedding stuff, and they have a really good conversation about like Peter and about JJ's son who she's marrying, and I feel like that's the only scene from the extended one that should have been in the actual cut of the movie. Yeah, that's my second place, and I know your second place is going to be one of two films, but which one is your second?
I'm gonna go with Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is incredible, bro. It's I That was the best Spider-Man movie. Everything about it. And I just Miles, people, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm gonna keep saying this. Miles is my favorite Spider-Man. Like that's my
Wow.
Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
Peter growing up was my Spider-Man. I just In the comics, what I love about Miles is he was a guy who had absolutely nothing to do with anything regarding Shield, Marvel Universe, nothing, right? And then Spider-Man died in a fight with Green Goblin. And then Miles was bit by the spider because his uncle was stealing from somebody else that had nothing to do with the spider. The spider got onto him
Hmm.
and then it bit Miles. So Miles was more of a story about he's somebody who joined the greater Marvel universe who had no relation to anything, and he's trying to make the best out of that. And there's just something really powerful in that. And if you belong or not, and Into the Spider-Verse did that. Like there's so much emotional scenes, like especially when his uncle is like, "You're the best of us," and everything, and like
Mm.
you just keep going. Like that movie is just so damn good. Like Into the Spider-Verse is incredible. And then yeah, I love everything about it. I love Liv or Viv or whoever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doc Ock, like everything.
Yeah,
That
the
movie
Doc Ock was fantastic.
that movie just understood what it meant to be Spider-Man. And for the longest time, Miles was seen as the Timu Spider-Man. And after this movie, I was finally vindicated because everybody was like, "Whoa, what the hell? This new Spider-Man is dope." I'm like, yeah, 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 finally. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then the games did such a fantastic job. But yeah, to me, Into the Spider-Verse number one. And I do think there's an element of maybe it's a little unfair. Animation is easier to get the Spider-Man stuff, but I would go Into the Spider-Verse number two.
And then we know from process of elimination we both have Across the Spider-Verse as our
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah, everything about that.
Go back and listen to our episode from a couple of years ago to hear us talk about this film in full. But that is such an incredible film.
Yeah.
Yeah. What more can we say? It really gets the character, and what both the films do is, obviously it's a multiverse story, but it what the MCU's tried to do with the multiverse, they've failed with it really. But Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse really do the multiverse story well and make it interesting. And they've approached it in the right way. And yeah, again, visually incredible. That scene when Miguel and all the Spider Society are chasing him, and then the twist at the end as well. I know we said it when we reviewed the film a couple of years ago, but you being my go-to expert on Spider-Man, the person who knows more than Spider-Man than any other person in my life, even you didn't see that ending coming.
Yeah, bro.
Like, that just shows how good it was.
I was shocked, bro. Like literally, when he was in this new Earth, I was like, you're not supposed to be Spider-Man. I was like, okay, we'll just figure out Spot and we'll just go from there. And then it's like, you're on the wrong Earth, bro. You're glitching out, bro. And then he's talking to Uncle Aaron, and then Uncle Aaron punches the bag. First of all the kids in the theater thought he died. And then he's like, I'm not the Prowler. And then you see the Prowler and the music and everything. And then he takes it off. And I was like, bro, and that's the horrifying thing. That would have been Miles's life if the spider didn't bite him. Like, that would have been his life, bro. Like, and there's something powerful about opportunities not being given to kids and where systemically where they're at. And that's just where the movie went. And I just love, and then the whole like, this Miles, is he evil? Is he good? And then he's like, let me go. And then he's like, why would I do that? And then just like the epic is what I would say is Across the Spider. It had this epic feel. It had this incredible epic feel while keeping true to the Spider-Man mythos. Spider-Man 2 had the same vibe. Marvel Spider-Man 2, that shit. We're going to have a whole episode on that in the future because I'm seeing a lot on social media. People keep saying that game sucks. That game is incredible, and I will defend the story to my death. But yeah, that is my quick rundown of my. I have Across, Into, Spider-Man 2, Brand New Day, and Spider-Man as my top 5 Spider-Man films.
Should we quickly go from bottom to top so we can play it out as a TikTok clip?
Yeah.
Do you want to go with yours first, and then I'll give mine?
Yeah, I'll go with Far From Home, TASM 2, Spider-Man 3, Homecoming. Is that, man, how much is that again? It's far from, okay, I did Far From Home. That's dead last.
Yeah.
TASM 2.
Yep.
Okay. Then we, so what position is that? 11. So
you're up to 8th now.
8th. Then I had, Homecoming, right?
You had Spider-Man 3, that's what I've got written down.
Oh yeah, it's Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3, I agree. Then I would put No Way Home. Or no, I had Homecoming.
Yeah.
Then I had No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Then Spider-Man. And then the rest, Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Spider-Man 2, Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. That's my list.
Yeah. I've gone with Far From Home at the very bottom, then TASM 2, then Spider-Man 3, then Homecoming, then TASM 1, then Spider-Man, and then Into Spider-Verse, and then No Way Home, Brand New Day, Spider-Man 2, and Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so we both agreed on the best and worst Spider-Man film.
Yeah, we agreed on something Spider-Man.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So now, to round out the episode, let's do something we haven't done in a while, a tier list. Let's we've left this till last because we don't know if it's gonna work. Okay, I just need to grant Google Chrome access to record my screen.
Yeah, you're good.
Sure, this is great for the audio listeners. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Select a tab to share. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hope this is recording.
Mega. Okay, let's start with mega crap.
Do
Tasm
you like
suit.
the tears, by the way?
Yeah. I love that. Mega crap. We gotta put Tasm one suit. We
I
Tasm
don't
one.
agree.
Okay, then something we do gotta agree on. The Raimi suits. Raimi Spider-Man 2, 3 suit, and then yeah, Spider-Man 2 and 3 suit, not black suit, but
Yeah.
like
So
the red.
I've before we start, I've included the Spider-Man Raimi Spider-Man 1 suit because there is slight differences. Do we want to include that all as one? And as well, are we including the No Way Home Final Swing suit? Or on the Brand New Day, we're counting that as the same, or are we doing them as
Just
separate?
there are different, but just for this one, we can all just count that as same.
Okay.
I do think
So
the Spider-Man first, the 2002 suit is better than Spider-Man 2 and 3. The colors pop a bit more, the fat back spider on the back, but I mean, it's whatever.
so should we
let's-
should we start with the beginning of Toby movies and go on chronological like release order?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So the human spider suit.
human spider suit.
Um,
It's my favorite of the homemade suits.
okay. Um,
I don't know if that's a hot take, but I really like it.
I'd put it in friendly neighborhood.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah.
that. That's pretty
I'd put
fair.
it in friendly neighborhood, like middle tier.
The
Yeah.
homemade suits can only be so high, can't they?
Yeah. No, I agree. That one is really good.
So then, should we go with the first Raimi suit, or are we counting it as one?
The first Raimi suit, I would put in Ultimate. I really loved it. I really loved the first one, or maybe Amazing. I really loved it, or maybe Friendly Neighborhood. But as long as it is above the other two,
Okay.
as long as it's
so
above
as
the
long as
other
it's
Raimi
above the
suits.
black one.
No, the black one is the best Raimi suit.
Okay. So
Yeah,
let's put this one in Amazing
Okay.
for now. So then the Raimi 2 and 3 suit, are you putting that in Friendly Neighborhood, do you think? Or also in Amazing?
I'm putting that in crap.
Wow.
I really hated the Raimi suits, bro. Like, that's the one thing when I watch those Raimi movies now, it's kind of hard. Those suits, I just don't like them. They're not classic Spider-Man at all.
They were products of the time, weren't they? Like, they had to make them in a certain way because of the limitations, but yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one if you let me put Tasm one suit somewhere I want to later.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Black suit. For me, black suit's an ultimate.
Yeah, that's Ultimate. That's the top 5 Spider-Man suit.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Like, all the toys as well. Do you remember the reversible suit that they released at the time?
Yeah.
I never had that, but I asked for that Christmas and I did not get it. I'm still salty about it. But I don't know if I've ever told you this, but there was a Spider-Man magazine in the UK. You know, like the ones that come with like the toys attached to them and stuff like that. They've got comics and puzzles and stuff to do. There was one of them in the UK when Spider-Man 3 was coming out, and there was a competition. Was to send in a picture. It was like a kids magazine. You had to send in a photo of you dressed as Spider-Man, and the winner won this like Spider-Man 3 mega gift bundle thing. So I put on my Spider-Man costume, went into the backyard with my mum and said, if you put the camera on the side and I'm on, because we had like concrete floor in the garden, I said to her, if I'm like climbing like that on the floor but you put the camera on the side, it looks like I'm climbing the wall. So we did that, sent it into the magazine, and I won.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
This huge box arrived one day. It had web shooters with the silly string. It had like all the Spider-Man, black suit Spider-Man toys, a Sandman toy, like a costume. Genuinely, that was one of the best days of my life, if not the best.
Bro,
That is up there with my wedding day, the day I received that.
Yeah, man, that is awesome.
So, yeah, the black suit, iconic.
Yeah.
So I've included it because there was a good photo of it. The Tasm homemade suit. Mega
would
crap
put
for me.
I would put that in Friendly Neighborhood.
Would you?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was. It shows he's kind of intimidating. It
Yeah.
shows where he was at and his stage. You know.
Should we meet in the middle and go crap?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do get. I do get what you're saying, but I just feel like they could have done a bit more.
Yeah.
So Tasm won. I know you want to put in mega crap.
We can put it.
For me, it'd be Friendly Neighborhood. I really like it. It looks like something a teenager would make with the resources that he had.
All right, fine. Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's like a football kit with yellow. It's like yellow and red. It's like, what is that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I think we both know where we're putting the next one.
Yeah, that's amazing or ultimate.
I want to put it in ultimate. For me, it's the best. Well, maybe up until Brand New Day, it's the best like red and blue suit.
I would maybe put amazing. I just don't like the blue on it. It's kind of like the Raimi. It's too muted.
But the eyes, it's the best eyes we've ever seen on a Spider-Man costume.
Really, I think the best eyes are the Holland ones. I think the best.
Let's not get into the static versus moving lenses debate again. We've already done that. Can we put the top of amazing then?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he is the amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This next one for me has got to be the first entry in Mega Crap. The Inside Out. No, that's next in the list of pictures, but that's not next in what we're doing. The homemade MCU suit.
I'd put that in ultimate.
Okay.
I love it. I love the feeling of that homemade vibe, the hoodie vibe, the web shooters. Because we forget to use the web shooters, you need super strength. Those web shooters, it took like Ned both of his hands to like press down on it. Like remember in Homecoming, like. And I loved how the web shooters looked. I loved the gloved feel. I loved the underoos feel. I loved the mask. Like that to me is a top 5 suit. And I think one of the biggest misses of the MCU is that we did not get content or media with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in that suit being Spider-Man. I think that would be so cool to see. I always love hoodie suits on Spider-Man. Like if I were to ever write Spider-Man, I'd have given him a hoodie suit. Like I don't know, like that to me is an incredible suit. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I actually made my own version of that suit. I made that suit myself for a Halloween party once. I'll try and slide the pictures in if I can find it. But,
yeah, you need to do that.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest one to do yourself, which is why it works so well.
Yeah,
because it looks like something you could make.
Yeah.
So the first Stark suit, the Homecoming suit. What do we think of that one?
I would put it in amazing or friendly neighborhood, higher tier friendly neighborhood, lower amazing. I'm just not a fan of the dashed webs. Like I like the solid raised web feels. I don't like the space in between the webs. I don't know. I don't.
I think top of friendly neighborhood is fair.
Yeah.
It looks like he doesn't look like Spider-Man. He looks like Spider-Boy, I think.
Yes.
Like, it looks like he's a child in that costume.
Yes. And that spider logo, I'm sorry, Tom Holland's Spider-Man logo got such a major update. But before Brand New Day, he had the worst spider logo of all time. That was like Apple Mac, Steve Jobs' iteration of Spider-Man. I don't know. No, that was a terrible spider logo. I hated it.
Sorry, I'm just arranging these in order. So, Iron Spider. What do we think? MCU Iron Spider suit.
I'd put it in friendly neighborhood, lower tier.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. It's too similar to like a normal suit, and also the CGI doesn't look very good. And if we were to get Iron Spider again, I'd want them to do the traditional, just red and gold.
Yeah,
that's such an iconic look, and I feel like they kind of. Now the more I'm talking about it, I kind of feel like it should be in crap.
Hey man, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I never played.
It'd be the top of crap. It'd be at the top of that one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. We can move things around at the end as well. So the red and black, the Far From Home suit.
Um, I don't know. How do you feel about it? I feel like it could be in crap. I also feel like it could be in Friendly Neighborhood.
I'd prefer it to the Homecoming suit.
Okay.
Because you still got the same problem with the webbing not looking great, but I feel like the black sort of makes the red pop a bit more than the blue. The blue's a bit muted in the Homecoming suit.
Mhm.
And the arms look a lot better on that one.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be top of Friendly Neighborhood. For me, if you, I know you like the Homecoming.
I agree. No,
one.
I agree with that.
Do you
Yeah,
agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Night Monkey.
I actually like Night Monkey, man. I like Night Monkey.
It's cool.
It is a cool suit. I'd put it in like middle Friendly Neighborhood. I don't think it's a bad suit.
It's a cool suit. It just doesn't feel very Spider-Man, does it?
Also, shout out to and Brand New Day. MJ actually were you the Night Monkey? I was like, hey, she still remembers the Night Monkey.
Yeah.
I want everybody who listens to this pod search up the Night Monkey trailer on YouTube. Sony Pictures made a parody version of Night Monkey, and it was clips of Far From Home, but they edited it to be like a John Wick type of thriller. And it's like Beware the Night Monkey, and it showed like him swinging through the Mysterio like fire monster and throwing the rock in his chest, but it looked like he was killing him. That's how they edited it, and it's like never mess with the Night Monkey, and it shows him like crawling on the side of the train when he got hit, but it's like he's badass rather than he got tricked by Mysterio. Everybody watch that trailer; it's so funny. Like Sony had a good sense of humor with that. Yeah, Beware the Night Monkey, and that sounds like a cool name too, by the way.
Yeah.
I might change my Marvel Rivals name to Night Monkey or something.
Next one, the Inside Out suit from No Way Home.
Mega crap. Dog shit.
So bad. They just did it to sell toys. I know that's why they made any variation of any suit.
I guarantee you no kid bought that either. No kid bought that shit.
It makes no sense. It's got all these wires and these things sticking out. How can you wear the suit normally with all those things? Like,
it was ugly ass suit.
Yeah. The integrated suit is next. That's the official name.
Really? I hated that suit, bro. I hated that suit. It was such a miss that they had Toby and Andrew and Tom Spider-Man all to come together, and Tom had the worst suit. Like that.
He did have the worst suit of the three. I kind of like it, but I'll give you mega crap. I'll let you.
I mean, maybe you could put it like top of crap. I mean,
I think about there is right for it.
All right.
But if you want it in mega crap, I'll give you that.
That's fair.
We'll put it at the bottom. We'll put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Of
yeah,
crap.
That's fair.
Then we've got the No Way. We'll do these as separate ones. We'll do the No Way Home final swing suit. What's your thoughts on this? Because I know when we saw it initially, when the film came out, we were like, "Oh, that's incredible!" Like the blue, being so shiny and.
It looked really good. I would put the No Way Home one in amazing, and I would put Brand New Day ultimate best suit we've ever got.
Yeah, it just looks so real with the fold and the wrinkles. And where in ultimate is it going?
Top.
Okay. So,
top of the list.
So that's the tier list. Let's see if we'll go from the bottom. Let's see if we're happy with it. Inside Out suit. Integrated suit. Is the integrated suit better than? Yeah. TASM homemade suit. Is it better than integrated?
Yeah.
Okay. Raimi 2 and 3. Is it better or worse than the TASM homemade?
Yeah, it is by far.
MCU Iron Spider. Is it better or worse than the Raimi suit?
It looks better. It's not much, but it looks better. Yeah.
Okay, then we're in Friendly Neighborhood. TASM 1. I think it's worse than the Human Spider.
Yeah, 100%.
Is Human Spider better or worse than Night Monkey?
I have more of a fondness of because it's just sleek. Like if I was a superhero and I was on a budget, I would look like that, or the homemade suit of the MCU. But I would say Night Monkey does look better. I'd put Night Monkey above it. Yeah.
Then Homecoming suit better or worse than Night Monkey?
It's better than Night Monkey's. Yeah. I would say.
Yeah.
And then I would say the Far From Home one is definitely the best pre Brand New Day by far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then No Way Home Final Swing, better or worse than the first Raimi one?
I would say it's worse. We only saw 30 seconds of it.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
see it enough, really.
Yeah.
It was all moving, it was far away, we didn't see it up close. Yeah, first Raimi one, it's got to be worse than TASM 2 suit. Do we agree on that?
TASM 2 suit was the best. If they had a bit more bright red and a bit more of a blue, that would still be the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would still say.
Homecoming homemade suit, better or worse than Spider-Man 3 black suit?
I would adjust it a little bit. I would put the TASM 2 suit and replace it with the No Way Home homecoming suit, or the MCU homecoming suit. So I would put
the homemade one.
Yeah, I would put homemade and amazing, and I would put the TASM 2 suit and ultimate. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the order of ultimate? So the top three, we're saying third TASM 2, second Spider-Man 3 black suit, and number one Brand New Day suit.
Yes. Bingo.
There you have it. That you've heard it here first. That is the official definitive ranking of all the Spider-Man suits. That is fact, and anyone who disagrees is wrong. So
Yep. You just can't beat the wrinkles and the feel. Like he truly did feel like a guy in a suit with just powers. And that was the biggest criticism that I had of the MCU Spider-Man, is there was a lot of bells and whistles and not an emphasis on he's just a guy with powers and just a suit. And they got this perfectly. They got it perfectly. That is the greatest suit I've ever seen for Spider-Man. I've been playing that in Marvel Rivals. I've been playing it in the Spider-Man PS2 game. I've been playing it non-stop. Fortnite skin. Like, I've been using that non-stop, bro. I love that suit. And I love how you can see his eyes through the lenses.
Oh, I know. It's so good.
It's such a homecoming vibe. I can't say enough about the Brand New Day suit. I want them to only change it for the MCU black suit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll get that soon.
Yeah, and we'll have a whole episode. We should do a whole episode on what we think the black suit should look like and how they should go about it and stuff like that. But I think that's this episode.
I think that's it. I think I've made this a public one, so I'll put a link to this in the description, so people who are watching, listening can do their own. And if you do make your own, share it with us. We'll reshare it on our Instagram stories and things like that. That's it for the episode. I'll stop sharing now. Thanks to everyone for listening. It's been a long one, but this has flown by for me. I've had a great time.
Likewise.
We love talking Spider-Man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was by far, like our last episode, was by far the most engagement we've ever gotten. One thing that'll really help us out, just in the comments section, just engage whatever you want to say, just because we want to, we appreciate that you give the time out of your day to listen to us for such a long time. I think it's only fair that we hear what you have to say, and we appreciate you for giving your time to listening to us. We're going to be doing this every week. We're uploading every week. We're on all social media platforms. Just like, engage, comment.
Even if you disagree with us, even if we just want a conversation, don't we? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, we've been talking about Brand New Day for a long time, and last week's episode was awesome because it showed like people do actually watch, and especially our Thor reel did awesome. So you guys are awesome. You guys are doing great. Thank you so much. Just keep sharing our stuff. Shout out to everybody who always listens to us. And we'll be back next week. We'll probably going to be talking about Spider-Man again. I feel like this is a light Spider-Man channel. But this is anything cinema or comic booky or Spider-Man. We will always be there. So let us know if there's a specific topic you guys want us to cover. I know a lot of people have been asking just your film opinions, like not just about like nerd stuff, but just like film.
Okay.
And a lot of people say you have a lot of good stuff to say, me included. So a lot of good stuff coming up on the horizon. Thanks.
Definitely.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
See you next time.
All right. See you guys.